Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are cutting through the noise, taking a massive stack of sources, specifically the December 2025 issue of CPA Flight Lines.
That's the Colorado Pilots Association newsletter.
Exactly. And we're giving you that intellectual shortcut to being instantly, well-informed.
Well, and this deep dive is crucial because it's such a perfect snapshot of general aviation in Colorado right now. You really get the full spectrum. You've got high-stakes political advocacy, strategies for career advancement, and then just some really practical wisdom for making GA flying a little less stressful.
Absolutely. It's that excitement of heading into the new year, but with a really serious focus on protecting the privileges we all enjoy.
Yeah, you can feel that blend of personal flying joy.
You can.
They included a great note about President Adrian Nye getting his new airplane, N194AK.
I saw that.
But it's right alongside the necessary business of running a powerful organization.
Okay, so let's unpack this. I think we should start with the vision set by the new leadership.
Yeah, we have a changing of the guard with Andy Holmes stepping in as the new CPA president, and he's laid out a very focused mission statement.
And what's the core of that?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the reason the Colorado Pilots Association exists is, well, it's simple to advocate for and promote general aviation in Colorado.
And he didn't really mince words about the urgency, did he?
No.
He stressed that this core mission has never been more vital because we are seeing increasing pressure.
So much pressure.
On our local airports, on available airspace, and on general aviation operations overall. So what are his strategic focus points for tackling that pressure in the coming year?
He distilled it down into 4 core pillars, which are really the foundation of any successful advocacy group. You've got safety, advocacy, community, and communication.
And that last one, communication, sounds key.
It's paramount. He wants to ensure members are not only aware of the issues, but also know exactly where and when their voice is most needed.
That brings up a critical question about influence, right? When the CPA sits down at the negotiating table with, say, airport sponsors, municipalities, or even the FAA, where does their power come from? It's not money.
No, it's not. It's credibility and leverage.
Okay.
And both of those things are generated entirely by member engagement. As Holmes correctly points out, CPA's influence is directly tied to pilots showing up to crucial meetings, submitting detailed comments, and, responding rapidly to action alerts.
So it's the people.
It's all about the people. If the CPA can demonstrate that it represents thousands of active, engaged citizens who care about their airports, well, decision makers are compelled to take that voice seriously.
And here's where that advocacy muscle is needed, immediately. The newsletter transitions straight into a really high-stakes local battle, the Longmont landing fee ordinance.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of what that increasing pressure actually looks like on the ground.
So what happened?
This was a crucial legislative action taken by the Longmont City Council on November 18th. Had it passed, it would have established a landing fee structure at the airport.
And?
Fortunately, CPA Legislative Affairs were able to celebrate because the ordinance ultimately failed. But here's the thing. It was only on a razor-thin 4-3 vote.
Wow. What's so fascinating here is the political dynamic that led to the defeat. I mean, you had Council Member Sean McCoy trying to push the ordinance through.
Right. And initially, he was only carving out exemptions for emergency and medevac flights, which kind of signals a broader intent to expand revenue generation later.
Exactly. And the drama really unfolded when the council representative to the Airport Advisory Board, Matthew Popkin, he proposed a friendly amendment.
Which seemed totally logical.
Yeah, just exempt aircraft that are actually based in Longmont.
But McCoy refused the amendment, a really surprising move if his goal was actually to build consensus.
And that rejection became the pivot point. Because Popkin's amendment was declined, he subsequently cast the deciding vote against the ordinance.
That's what led to the 4-3 defeat.
That level of on-the-floor conflict is often attributed to, the constraints of the Open Meetings Act. It prevents council members from discussing all the nuances outside of the hearing itself, so it forces this public, unanticipated showdown.
And what's important for you to realize is the impact of that vote. While they won this battle, the CPA Legislative Affairs team immediately warned that this is, and I'm quoting here, maybe not the war. The vote was just too close. And with recent elections bringing in new council members and a new mayor, they fully expect a similar ordinance to surface again next year.
So this Longmont situation, it's kind of a blueprint that other Colorado municipalities might try to follow.
It is. It makes vigilance necessary across the entire state.
Okay, so that's the defensive side of the CPA's work. What about investing in the future, the offense? Let's move on to how CPA is supporting the next generation of pilots through the 2026 scholarship program.
Yeah, applications for that run from January 1st to February 15th. And they are offering two incredibly significant scholarships named after some real aviation giants.
The first one is the Walt and Terry Barbo PPL Scholarship. Who is that aimed at?
That one's specifically for Colorado students aged 16 to 22 who are seeking their private pilot's license.
I love this story. Walt Barbo is just the definition of aviation dedication. We're talking about a World War II fighter pilot, a former CPA president.
And get this, someone who as of spring 2025 was still actively flying his Cessna 210 at 101 years old.
Wow. I mean, that is such an inspiring legacy to attach to a foundational scholarship.
It truly connects passion to history. The second scholarship is the Emily Howell Warner Scholarship.
And who is that one for?
This one targets female pilots who already hold a private pilot's license or higher and are aiming for advanced ratings.
Like an instrument rating or a commercial certificate?
Exactly, or multi-engine ratings.
And Emily Howell Warner is, she's arguably one of the most important pioneers in modern American aviation history.
Absolutely. She started taking flying lessons back in 1958, literally working as a receptionist to pay for her flight time.
And then in 1973, Denver-based Frontier Airlines hired her,
making her the first female pilot for a scheduled U.S. commercial airline in nearly 40 years. It's no wonder her uniform is displayed at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum.
It's so fitting. So when you look at these two scholarships, you see CPA honoring both the longevity of aviation passion and the struggle for equity and access.
Right. And for anyone listening who's thinking of applying, just remember the two non-negotiable requirements. You need a personal essay outlining your goals and, crucially, a letter of recommendation from a certified flight instructor, a CFI.
Now, beyond the CPA, the newsletter points us towards some other critical external resources. We should probably talk about the AMCG Foundation's big news.
Oh, yeah, the launch of the updated centralized scholarship website, futureofaviation.aero.
So what's new about it? What's the big deal?
What's fascinating here is how this website, which went live December 2nd, 2025, it directly attacks the problem of, application fatigue. It's designed to streamline the whole funding process.
It's easier to find money.
Much easier. It has improved search tools. It lets you save your profile information, favorite scholarships. It just makes the typically tedious hunt for aviation funding much more efficient.
And for those who are maybe already established in their careers.
Women in Aviation International, WAI, has partnered with Harvard University's Division of Continuing Education, or DCE, for a really intensive leadership program.
Okay, this sounds serious.
It is. This is a professional development opportunity for high-performing women with 7 or more years of career experience in aviation or aerospace. The curriculum is focused on high-level executive skills.
What kind of skills?
Strategic thinking, negotiation, executive communication. This isn't just a certificate, it's a serious investment in your career.
And they've made it logistically flexible too, right?
Yeah.
There's an on-campus session and virtual ones.
Yep, on campus in May 2026, and 2 virtual options in June and November. But what truly stands out is the financial support.
Let's deal with that.
Selected participants for the on-campus session get funding for tuition, hotel, and meals. You just need to cover your travel.
That's a massive subsidy. It's clearly aimed at boosting diversity in industry leadership.
It connects back perfectly to Andy Holmes' pillar of community investing in the future leadership of the industry.
Okay, we've talked politics, we've talked leadership. Now let's look at what people are flying for fun. The social side of the CPA. Their flying calendar is legendary.
Oh, yeah. Looking back at 2025, they had a phenomenal season. They successfully pulled off 10 fly-ins that took members across 6 states.
Where did they go?
Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, New Mexico, South Dakota, and Kansas, plus 4 locations right here in Colorado.
And these aren't just, airport visits for a burger.
Not at all. The newsletter highlighted the incredible variety. They combine aviation with adventure. Think in-person visits with aviation icons like Burt Rutan. Yes. Seeing the actual Apollo 13 command module, exploring gold mines, going on river raft trips, it's the full travel experience, just powered by GA.
So planning for the 2026 season must require a ton of coordination.
It does. The critical event is the CPA Fly-In Planning Meeting on January 10th, 2026 at BJC. That's where the whole flying season, which generally runs March through October, takes shape.
And there's a new process this year, right, to avoid conflicts?
Yeah, because these fly-ins are complex. You're coordinating lodging, rental cars, multiple host groups. So the committee chairman, Bill Marvel, he's implemented a crucial procedural update. Historically, plans often clashed because everyone announced their desired dates at the same time in January.
So what's the new request?
It's incredibly practical. They are asking hosts to submit their intended dates and destinations to the chairman as soon as known, even a year in advance.
This allows him to quietly manage and deconflict dates before the big January meeting.
Exactly. It saves hosts a ton of effort. But that pre-coordination is key, and so is confidentiality. The chairman only keeps a list of dates and host contacts. The exciting location and itinerary details are kept secret until the January meeting.
It preserves that element of surprise for the calendar reveal.
It does.
But, speaking of reveals, we do have one early announcement.
We do. And it's because this trip is happening unusually early in the year. First-time hosts Vince and Kay Otto have released details for their trip to Phoenix, Arizona.
When's that happening?
April 10th through the 12th.
A great warm weather escape. Where are they flying into?
They'll be arriving at Falcon Field Mesa, KFFC, and the itinerary for that sunny weekend is just packed with culture.
Oh yeah, like what?
Hitting the Musical Instrument Museum, exploring the Desert Botanical Garden, taking a tour of historic Old Town Scottsdale, visiting the Western Spirit Museum there.
Sounds amazing.
And it caps off with a dinner at El Encanto de la Fuente, a perfect kickoff to the flying season before the desert heat really sets in.
That sounds fantastic. All right, let's move to the fourth pillar of this deep dive. The pure pilot wisdom from Adrian Nye in his article, An Ace in the Hole.
I loved this article.
You too. He tackles a challenge every GA pilot faces. The stress of balancing the weather uncertainty of private flying with the rigidity and high cost of last-minute commercial travel.
He calls out that classic get-there-itis pressure.
Especially when you have a critical commitment, like, for him, visiting his 88-year-old mother in Tucson.
This is such a real source of stress. When your GA plans fall through, buying a last-minute commercial ticket is often just prohibitively expensive. We're talking thousands of dollars.
And usually non-refundable.
Exactly. So Nye's solution is brilliant, treating airline loyalty points and miles as an affordable, reliable, and this is the key refundable commercial backup plan, your ace in the hole.
Okay, so if we're not business travelers earning points by flying every week, what's the acquisition strategy? How do you build up that safety net without spending a fortune?
He advises that the fastest, most effective way is through credit card account opening bonuses. These are often these enormous initial point deposits. He notes that savvy travelers can cycle through opening around 5 accounts every 2 years. Now, this requires discipline.
You have to pay it off.
You must use auto pay and pay the full balance every single month. But if you do that, it actually builds your credit long term, and it massively builds your point reserves.
Okay, and this is where it gets into the advanced redemption hacks that are a true intellectual shortcut. Let's take a last-minute flight on United.
Yeah.
Because they use dynamic pricing, that seat might cost you, what, 58,000 miles?
Right, or roughly $580. But if you hold a United-branded credit card, the airline gives you a discount on their reward flights.
So that same 58,000-mile flight might drop to, what?
Just 20,000 points. That's already a huge efficiency gain for your backup plan.
But you can go even further with the partner booking trick. Can you explain that process? It's a little technical, but it delivers maximum value.
Okay, so it all comes down to airline alliances. Nye describes transferring your miles, say your flexible Capital One miles, to a partner airline. In his example, it's Air Canada Aeroplan.
And since United and Air Canada are both in the Star Alliance.
Exactly. Air Canada can book that same United flight, but they often price it using a fixed, more favorable award chart than United's dynamic one. So the cost drops even further.
Down to what?
Down just 15,000 points.
The cost difference is just incredible. 58,000 points versus 15,000.
You're essentially leveraging the internal pricing structures of the airline alliance to save a massive number of miles. The only caveat, of course, is that not every single United flight is available via partner booking.
Right.
But when it is, it's the financial equivalent of a high-performance turboprop versus a fixed-gear piston. It's essential for that refundable safety net.
And there's one final tactic he flags for anyone already using Chase points.
Right. If you have Chase cards that accrue points but don't let you transfer them to airlines.
Making them largely useless for this strategy.
then you need one key that unlocks everything. And that key is the Chase Sapphire Preferred card.
Just opening that specific card.
Merely opening that specific card, often with a huge sign-up bonus, automatically unlocks the ability to transfer points from all your existing Chase Rewards cards to airline partners. Without it, your points are stuck. With it, they become that valuable, refundable travel safety net.
This deep dive has really covered the essentials of being a modern, well-prepared pilot, hasn't it? The political urgency of the Longmont fees, the opportunity from the scholarships, and then this practical value of having an affordable commercial backup.
And speaking of planning ahead for the future of general aviation, the newsletter includes a pretty significant reference to MOSAIC.
The modernization of special airworthiness requirements. What's the magnitude of this shift? Why should pilots care about this beyond just the acronym?
MOSAIC is, well, it's the next major regulatory shift coming from the FAA. It's a multi-phase project, but the gist is that it fundamentally redefines the light sport aircraft category, the LSA category. The Phase 1 and 2 details suggest substantial changes. Higher weight limits, increased performance capabilities, and potentially allowing LSAs to carry more passengers or cargo than currently allowed. It also alters the pilot certifications required to fly these new, more capable aircraft.
So what does this all mean for you as a pilot heading into 2026?
It means the entire landscape of entry-level and recreational flying is about to change, and change dramatically. This shift is going to determine what kind of aircraft manufacturers build, what privileges pilots hold, and potentially how much it costs to get started in the first place.
So the takeaway is to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we encourage you to track those Phase 1 and Phase 2 details closely in 2026 to stay ahead of the curve, because this is going to be the biggest regulatory shakeup the GA world has seen in years.
That's a perfect challenge to take into the new year. And if any of the discussions today, whether it's the need for advocacy on airport fees or the strategies for advancing the industry, have piqued your interest, just remember that the CPA's influence relies entirely on its members.
That's right.
They explicitly encourage you to consider getting involved. That could mean joining a committee focused on airport issues, scholarships, or safety, or even just attending the monthly board meetings. Your participation really is what gives the CPA that vital credibility and leverage.